When you think of a really charged debate, chances are you wouldn't imagine it would be over poetry. But actually, that's what Bill O'Reilly and Jon Stewart were offering up last night, the two cable TV giants butting heads over the appearance of rapper Common at the White House last week. CBS News correspondent Seth Doane is in New York's Times Square with more on that. Seth, good morning.
Good morning, Erica. Yes, a poetry reading may seem innocuous, but in the politically charged landscape of cable news, it was just enough to spark a debate between conservative Bill O'Reilly and liberal Jon Stewart. Their showdown took place just blocks from here, and it was clear that while the duo may be politically polarizing, they both certainly know how to put on a good show.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
In their playful battle,
because you know I got mad love for you. That's a rap phrase.
I got it. The talk show heavyweights faced off. Their ring, primetime cable TV.
Hi, Stewart, I'm shocked.
The two were at odds over an invitation to the rapper Common to take part in this poetry reading last Wednesday night at the White House.
I write for beacons of light.
The backlash began when conservatives claimed that Common celebrates violence and cop killing in his lyrics.
I got the black strap to make the cops run.
And therefore had no place performing at the White House.
It's just so lacking of class and decency.
Stewart mocked the GOP's outrage on his show.
Who was the subject of Fox News Channel's latest exercise in fits of hissy.
Provoking the challenge from O'Reilly.
I would like to debate you about the Common situation because it's important.
Last night, the two pulled no punches.
It's a poetry slam. Who gives a crap?
A lot of people do.
Stewart firmly held the left, saying conservatives needed to be consistent with their outrage, pointing to the story of Leonard Peltier, who was convicted of killing two federal agents back in the 70s.
Guess who wrote a song about Leonard Peltier?
Yeah.
Bono.
Okay.
Guess where he was? The White House. Booyah!
All right.
Host Bill O'Reilly fired back from the political right.
You know this guy is sympathizing with two cop killers.
I don't know.
You know that.
I don't know him.
That's enough for a sitting president to say, you know what? This guy might be radioactive. I'm not doing it.
Their sparring was on the surface about poetry, but much more about politics, and maybe just a little about ratings, too.
And by the way, songs are not literal. You know that, right?
Oh, stop.
Like when the Weather Girls sing It's Raining Men, it's not really precipitation of males.
All right.
It's a metaphor.
Stop attacking the Weather Girls. They're one of my favorite groups.
Are they really?
Yeah, I love them.
Later on in the program, O'Reilly said that Stewart was a gentleman for coming on his show, and in his words said he was even funnier than most liberals. The debate was taped in two parts, and the second part will air tonight. Erica?
Seth Doane in Times Square. Seth, thanks. It's interesting that whenever these two, they do butt heads a lot, and they like to sort of call one another out. But whenever they do sit down and talk with one another, they have some great exchanges back and forth. It's fun to watch.
They do bring up a good argument. Bill's argument was if you're going to be invited to the White House, then the White House should look at your full resume to make sure that there's nothing in the back history that could be a bit of a conflict. And then, as you saw, John went on to say, well, then you can't invite Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan.
You've got a list. There you go. And one of John's arguments too late last week was that things may have been taken out of context. You have to look at the full picture, which may be the full resume, the full body of work.
Exactly. Makes for good television.
Makes for great television.